Good evening, Internet. This is me, DP Knudten, all ready for another exciting edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301 day consecutive daily live stream journey from I should really do this to done. And what is that done? That done is a book that's going to be done by January 1st, 2021. Or actually, press-ready files are going to be uploaded to Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing by at least January 1st, 2021, so I can have a brand new book. And what's that book called? Well, you've already seen the cover art a little bit. It looks something like that. It's called NONFICTION BRAND, Discovering, Crafting, and Communicating the Completely True, Completely You brand you already are. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it live in front of people just like you as I come down after working all day and having dinner with my family and stuff like that. I come down at around 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Central Daylight Time here in Wisconsin where I am, and I work on the book in one form or another. Sometimes I'm outlining or mind mapping ideas for the book. Other times I'm designing the interior or the cover. As you've seen, I've already done the cover. And sometimes I'm actually writing. And then other times I'm editing what I have written. So last night I worked on the book, and I worked on this specific thing right here in Scrivener. Hold on, get rid of that. And Scrivener is the application I'm using to actually write this book. And you can see, you write it over here, you've got all these sections or chapters, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll talk about those things in a minute. But for now, I'm going to do a first pass edit or read through of this aloud, because I really like my copy to seem very vocal, and I like it to be my voice, my literal voice, so much so that I'll just sit here and I'll read this aloud. And anytime I stumble over something, that's a cue to me to rewrite, because something's not right. Something's not coming out exactly the way I want it to. So join me as I read through this section and make changes along the way. The section's called Why Personal Brand? Because otherwise you're leaving opportunity on the table. As I was writing various sections of this book, I found myself asking why I've become such a passionate advocate for personal branding. Why now? After much internal conversation, I think I've figured it out. The single reason I'm all over this subject is due to a realization I came to after listening to the venerable Gary V. Gary and I go way back, or at least he's been on my radar for years. If I remember correctly, it all started with a blog post in either Wired or Fast Company. I think it's a blog post. Wired.com. Let's change that. On Wired.com about this guy in a small liquor store who started, let me try this again. If I remember correctly, it all started with a blog post on Wired.com about this guy in a small liquor store who started posting videos about wine. Back then, the simple act of posting video online was pretty darn difficult. I distinctly remember reading the article, then looking up one of his videos on a YouTube channel called Wine Library TV, and being terribly unimpressed. The production quality was of a hostage video. The host, some guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, had all the camera presence of a used car salesman. But boy, he was sure passionate about Merlot and Cabernet and just about everything else. Take a quantum leap to the Gary V of today, and you'll see a world-renowned, highly opinionated thought leader with a foul mouth who keeps on keeping on about the incredible power and opportunity of social media. He was right all the way back on the 17th of May, 2006, when he posted the first Wine Library TV video. Caption reads, "Seriously, he looks like he was just taken hostage by members of the Bordeaux Liberation Front." Since then, he has made one point over and over and over again. That if, I'm going to give that a call. What's that point? Over again. That if you think you're using social media to create, using social media to create, grow, and communicate your personal, small business, or service brand is only for fast-fingered 20-year-old digital natives, you are completely wrong. And I'm not the only one who's heard him say this and heeded his call. Later in the book, you'll read about a plumber in his late 50s named Roger Wakefield. I was lucky enough to have him as a guest on my Nonfiction Brand podcast, and he shared something that made my, and he shared something during our conversation, that made my jaw drop. Quote, I've become a student of social media. I've become a student of video. I've become a student of, and I say social media, I mean LinkedIn and YouTube both. A few days later, I'm on the same treadmill watching an online video, and Gary Vee is on there, and he's up in front of the stage talking, and he says, look, I don't care if you are 20, 50, or 70, you can do this. You can do this. And brother, I almost fell off the treadmill. I stopped and I grabbed the treadmill and I backed it up and I listened to him say it again. And the bad thing is I needed somebody in New York to tell me it was okay to do this. And that still blows my mind. Why are we waiting for other people to tell us it's okay to do something? Roger heard the exact same thing I did and had the same reaction too. Look, I don't care if you're 20, 50, or 70, you can do this. That to me was the sound of 16 tons of opportunity hitting the table. What Gary was talking about was the tremendous opportunity social media gives every single person who has internet access and a halfway decent computer. Quite literally, social media gives you the practically free opportunity to engage with the Earth's entire online audience. For the first time in human history, you have the opportunity to tell your personal story to everyone online. Long dash. For free. That's the opportunity that's sitting on the table. Unfortunately, most of us choose to leave it there untouched. Well, guess what? Many young people have picked up that opportunity. I say opportunity way too many. Have picked it up. Have picked it up. Have picked it up and begun to run with it in a way that puts later generations to shame. Earlier generations to shame. It's not their fault some can't be bothered with this incredibly powerful new world. Can't be bothered to live in this incredibly. The question is, are you? If the answer is no, go ahead and close this book and pass it along to someone else who might still have a pulse. When Johannes Gutenberg invented movable type, that changed everything. but the real fit innovation went to the owners of the printing press. This social media, with the social media revolution, everybody about everybody on earth owns their own personal printing press in their pocket. Form of a smartphone. Just about everybody on earth has their own personal printing press, their own pocket-sized personal sized personal printing press in the form of a smartphone. So what I'm going to do with your printing press? Create, grow, create and grow, or just consume, and kvetch. Age matters not a bit, but attitude determines the altitude at which you can fly. Your age me headed for the stratosphere where birds fly. So what's your attitude? Your age matters not a bit, but your attitude determines the altitude at which you can fly. So what's your attitude? Don't leave that opportunity just sitting there. Grab your share and get going. I don't know if I like this. I don't know. 2 or 3. Grab your share. Grab your share. Take a chance. Grab your share. Take a chance. Dare to. And dare to be is great. Dare to be the you. Always wanted to be. I don't know. I don't know. $812. All right, so here 812 divided by 350, about 2.5 pages, plus the photo in there. So what are you going to do with your printing press? Create and grow, or just consume and kvetch? Your age matters not a bit, but your attitude determines the altitude at which you can fly. Not a bit. Your age matters not a bit. Comma, but your altitude determines, or your attitude determines the altitude at which you can fly. Don't leave that opportunity just sitting there. Grab your share, take a chance, and dare to be the you you've always wanted to be. And already are. All right, so that's the end of that. I am going to give that a blue flag because that means I've written the whole section. I don't think it's finely polished or anything like that, but it's good for tonight. And yeah, so I'm going to leave that like that for tonight because I've learned early in this whole project, you know, this whole 301 day thing, I've got plenty of time. I mean, tonight is episode 101, by the way. That means I still have 200 days to go. And right now, if I go to Scrivener and do a rough word count all the way through the bios at the end, that's 26,026 words. All right, so clear 26,026 words divided by 350 words a page around. That's 74 pages. So if I keep going on this, I'm going to easily, at this pace, I can easily get 200 and 220 to 250 pages done. And that's about the thickness of the book because, right here, my first book, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind, is 214 pages. And, it's a good weight for a book. It's not too heavy. It's not too daunting. Yeah. So I think ultimately this book is going to be 225, 250 pages, hopefully, fingers crossed. And the only way I'm going to get there is by working on it every day a little bit. So tonight I worked on it a little bit, and frankly, I'm done for the night. I don't feel, I'm not feeling it completely tonight, so I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to instead appreciate what little bit I was able to do tonight and keep that momentum moving forward. Because this is a series of sprints during a massive marathon, during an ultra marathon. So today's sprint wasn't the fastest, but we're still moving forward, and that's the good thing. So thank you. Thank you for helping keep me honest by making me come down here and work on this project. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast. Today is Monday, which means that there's a brand new episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast out wherever you get your podcasts for free. Just look up Nonfiction Brand and you'll see the podcast and my smiling face at you because this actually, see that Nonfiction Brand with the photo of me? Yeah, that's actually the cover art for the audiogram. They call it an audiogram, where it says little pull quote and there's little wiggly lines indicating that someone's talking. That audiogram, that's the image that you'll see when you find it. So just search, as I said, Nonfiction Brand, and you can get it wherever you get your podcasts for free. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, etc., etc., etc. So check that out. And also listen for next week's episode, which is the second half of the conversation that I had today, or on today's podcast episode, with Roger Wakefield. Very interesting conversation. Very cool guy. So check that out. That's it for me tonight. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for episode 102. Until then, theme music. Take us on out. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.